Tuesday. I have a special little show for you today. I'm gonna put on a puppet show, but considering I don't have puppets and my mom's watching a movie slash sleeping in my bedroom, I think she's probably asleep. It's 5 in the morning. I am going to use silverware like Sarah suggested. But first, I'm gonna do my fuck, marry, kill. Get the hard part out of the way, because making silverware talk is a lot easier than picking which fictional slash real characters get to live. This is really hard. I had Frank Longbottom, which I'm not allowed to kill because Sarah will kill me if I kill Frank. The 11th Doctor, and Hank Green. So, the decision I have come to is that I will marry the 11th Doctor because then I will get to, sorry, the power is flickering, then I will get to time travel for the rest of my life, and I won't have to worry about anything, well, except for like getting eaten by aliens and stuff. But I'm gonna marry the 11th Doctor. I am going to have sex with Frank Longbottom, because if I married Frank Longbottom, which I would much rather do, Sarah would also probably kill me because she has dibs on Frank Longbottom forever and always. She is Alice, and so I can't marry Frank. But I can have a fling with Frank before Alice slash Sarah gets him. So I will have sex with Frank. And unfortunately, I'm going to kill Hank Green. As much as I love him, I feel like out of the well, I should have killed the 11th Doctor because he doesn't die. But I want to marry him. I don't want to marry Hank. As much as I love Hank, I don't want to marry Hank. So I'm gonna kill Hank. I'm sorry. We all have our time to go, man. It's just, this time is yours. A moment of silence for Hank Green. Okay. Now, on to the show. I don't think you guys are ready for this. Right. So, this is Molly, and Molly is going through a midlife crisis at the moment. She just dyed her silver the color of brass because she thinks it makes her look slimmer, and she's going on a date tonight with Henry. Molly and Henry have known each other since they were 6 years old, and they've always been the best of friends. Now, Molly, midlife crisis Molly, is in an abusive relationship with her husband, Franklin Delano, Franklin FD, the big ol' fuck daddy. Okay, sorry. So, Molly and Henry are going on their first date. Just so you know. Molly, Henry. Molly comes and she sits down at the table and she's waiting patiently for Henry to arrive. Henry, late as always, she knows he's always late, so she's not too worried at this point. Henry, late as always, walks through the door and he greets Molly with a shy smile. And he blushes, and she blushes, but you can't tell that she blushes because she's just dyed her silver copper or brass, whichever one is the color of a blush. And so they sit down and they have their dinner. And the waiter comes. The waiter asks what they want to eat, and Henry says, I'm gonna have a grilled cheese sandwich, and Molly will have chicken noodle soup because he knows that Molly's favorite soup is chicken noodle soup, and she said earlier that day that she was getting a scratchy throat. So he orders her soup, and she blushes again, but he doesn't tell again because brass, hello. And she's thinking inside, oh Hank, why are you so perfect? Why did I never see this before? Why am I with big ol' FD? Who's a rude dude, by the way. So anyway, they continue eating, and Molly says, Henry, you're the best friend I've ever had. And Henry, in his head, his inner monologue is going, oh great, she's gonna friend zone me, but I love her so much, and I just want to kiss her. And Molly says, Henry, will you be my... But then the door busts open, and the sirens go off, because he just stole guns from the gun shop across the street, and big ol' FD walks in. And he says, Molly, what are you doing with Henry? And she says, I was just getting a bite to eat. And Henry's like, yeah, she was just getting a bite to eat. Because even though Henry's scrawny, he likes to stick up for Molly because he loves her. And FD says, Molly, get in the car. We are going home right now. And Molly's like, okay, because she's tiny and she can't fight back. But little Henry, he says, FD, you cannot do that. You cannot say that to my lady. And he's like, your lady, excuse me, but she is my lady. And, oh look, Sarah just texted me. And, where was I? And Henry goes, Sarah, you threw me off. But Henry's like, FD, we can take this outside. So Henry and FD go outside, and Molly's sitting at the table cowering, like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? So Henry and Franklin Delano, they get into a spat, and they're going at it like cutlery in a china shop. And FD slices him across the throat because he has a knife and he can do that. And FD pokes him in the side, just like Amber Heard poked Frank, Dave, James Franco with a fork in Pineapple Express. And he's like, ow man, that hurt. And he's like, well, that's what you get for being rude to my lady. And so, in a final attempt to win over the heart of Molly, he slices Henry's throat, and Henry falls to the ground. And he's like, I am victorious. But then out of freaking nowhere, she scoops up a giant rock, and she lobs it at him, and it hits him in the head, and he falls to the ground. And she rushes over to Henry, and she says, Henry, I love you so much. Please don't die. And he's like, well, the dude kind of just, like, ripped out my jugular, so, you know, it's kind of hard not to die right now. She's like, but I love you. And he's like, but I love you too. And so she kisses him, and then he dies. And FD also dies, and then Molly goes on to live a very sad life on her own, and she dyes herself silver again. I'm not sure if that was really much of a puppet show, but that's the story, and I hope you enjoyed my story, my tale of woe. Maybe I'll do part 2 next week when they all turn into ghosts and come back to life. Anyway, love you. Bye. Hope you all had nice weeks.